Want to speak real English from your first lesson? Sign up for your free lifetime account at EnglishClass101.com.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some common English acronyms and initialisms. Let's get started. Okay, first I want to begin by explaining what acronyms and initialisms are. Acronyms are short versions of phrases or titles or expressions and so on. Acronyms are created using the first letter of each word in the expression, and then we pronounce acronyms as a word. So acronyms are these words, for example, over here, but you may also hear people using acronym to refer to initialisms too, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. So first, let's take a look at this group of vocabulary words that are pronounced as words. Okay, so let's take a look at the first word here, YOLO, Y-O-L-O. So, as I said, we create acronyms using the first letter of each word in the expression. In this case, Y-O-L-O, this creates YOLO. So YOLO means you only live once. You only live once. So we use this expression usually before we do something really exciting or maybe something that makes us feel a little bit nervous. People like to use it maybe before they do something dangerous or something risky. They might shout YOLO and then maybe jump into a river or something like that. So it's an expression that usually is kind of cheerful and feels kind of exciting and like someone wants to do something because they have a chance right now. So this is how we might use YOLO. Okay, the next acronym here is GOAT. GOAT. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. So you might hear people talking about their favorite celebrity or maybe their favorite artist, their favorite performer with the expression GOAT. Like for example, Beyonce is the GOAT or something like that. So someone or some group of people that a person feels are the best at something of all time, they might be using the word GOAT. People might use the word GOAT to express that they feel that that person is amazing or that group of people is amazing. So it does not refer to the animal. It refers to this expression. So-and-so is the greatest of all time. Okay, great. Let's go to the next one. The next one is FOMO. FOMO. FOMO means fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. So unlike these two that I talked about earlier, which might be used in short phrases or just as kind of an excited shout with YOLO, FOMO is typically used in sentences. For example, I stayed home tonight, but I have such bad FOMO. I'm checking everyone's updates on Instagram. FOMO refers to the fear of missing out on social activities or some kind of maybe interpersonal connection or maybe some big event. Fear of missing out. So we want to participate in something, but we're not participating in it. So we feel this fear. This is called FOMO now. We call this fear of missing out. Okay. Next is a very common one in banking, PIN, PIN. PIN means personal identification number, personal identification number. So when you go to an ATM or another banking establishment, or maybe there are some other situations like using a credit card, for example, you may be asked to enter your PIN, which means your personal identification number, your PIN. So typically this is only used in ATMs or on other kind of personal identification request forms or request boxes, like at a credit card machine and so on. Okay. Next, let's go to the last two here. These both come from kind of military backgrounds. The first one is AWOL. AWOL, A-W-O-L. AWOL means absent without leave. So this without, we've kind of taken the W and the O here together, without. Absent without leave. This means someone is not doing their job or is not in the place they're supposed to be, but They did not take time off. So leave means taking time off or time off from your job or your position. Absent without leave means someone is missing. So he's gone AWOL is where you might hear this, or she's gone AWOL, or perhaps just he's AWOL or she's AWOL. This expresses that someone is unexpectedly not in their position, or someone is unexpectedly not at their job or not doing the thing that they're supposed to do. So again, using AWOL has kind of a little bit of a military feel or an official feel. You might also hear the initialism used, MIA. He's MIA. MIA means missing in action. Missing in action. That means someone went to do something, like for example, a military mission, and in the process, they went missing. So we cannot find that person after they took their actions to go on their mission. So these are kind of similar expressions, but they are used in everyday conversation from time to time to refer to someone who is not at their position or not at their post. Okay, lastly is SWAT. SWAT, S-W-A-T, SWAT. This means special weapons and tactics, special weapons and tactics. So this is typically used in military and police situations. However, this is also sometimes used in business or perhaps even in academic situations, maybe, when you need to use special effort to achieve a goal. So usually, this is talked about in terms of a team, a SWAT team, like a special weapons and tactics team. When you call in or you request a SWAT team, it's because you find yourself in a situation where you need some kind of special effort. So you might hear maybe businesses or groups of people say like, let's call in the SWAT team, which means let's call in a group of people to give us some extra effort to get over this problem or to help us achieve this goal. So it doesn't always mean using weapons or maybe special military tactics, but it does sometimes refer to using extra effort, like asking extra people for help for something, or maybe getting some new kind of equipment. Some kind of extra effort is required to achieve a goal or to overcome a problem. So you may hear SWAT used to talk about that. So these are some examples of acronyms. As I said, we use a word pronunciation for these. So we don't say Y-O-L-O here or G-O-A-T. We say YOLO or GOAT or FOMO, these kinds of things. So let's compare this to initialisms. Initialisms. So as I said before, acronyms and initialisms are sometimes used to mean the same thing. So we can say that these acronyms here, these could also be considered acronyms as well. But some people are very strict about this and say acronyms are only words that we pronounce as a word, and initialisms are only these abbreviations we pronounce with letters. So don't be too worried about this, but please just know that some people have a very strict separation of these two groups. So initialism, I've already hinted at it. An initialism is a shortened version of a phrase, title, expression, and so on. It is created using the first letter of each word in the expression. It is read as letters. This is the key difference from this first group of acronyms here. We read these as words, FOMO, PIN, AWOL, and so on. These, however, are read as individual letters. So I've selected a big group of some very common ones. Let's take a look. First is ASAP. ASAP. This means as soon as possible. As soon as possible. This is a very common initialism. It is used in the business world. It is used in casual messages. It is used everywhere. ASAP. As soon as possible. So please do this quickly, or please take care of this quickly, immediately, as soon as you can. The next one is DIY. DIY. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's important to know do it yourself, or DIY, is usually used to talk about hobbies or projects, something like that. We don't usually use DIY to make a request or to reply to someone. Like, for example, if someone says, "Can you help me with this report?" and you say in response, DIY, that doesn't make any sense. We don't use do it yourself as a response to someone. Instead, we talk about our personal projects usually as DIY projects. For example, I created a birdhouse. It was a great DIY project. So these are kind of personal, maybe hobby or other activity related things, and we use DIY to express that it's something we created on our own, meaning without a professional. Okay. Next, very common online is FAQ. FAQ. FAQ means frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions. So you will probably find this on the homepage of a number of major websites. So common questions that companies receive from customers typically are on an FAQ page, a frequently asked questions page. So it's typically found on websites. It might also be found in pamphlets of organizations, but FAQ is another good one to know. Okay, next is AKA. AKA means also known as, also known as. So when someone or something has more than one name, you might see AKA used. For example, Superman, AKA Clark Kent. So Superman and Clark Kent are the same person, but this one person has more than one name, right? So we use AKA to express that. Superman, also known as Clark Kent. So when we want to talk about someone's other name or another way that you might know that person, you can use AKA to do that in a short way. Okay? Next is FYI. FYI, for your information. This one is typically used at the beginning of a sentence. You can use this in emails. This is very common in emails and in text messages. FYI, the meeting time was changed to 2 o'clock. Or FYI, we're out of bread. Can you pick some up? So this sounds like you're giving someone else a quick piece of information. FYI. Next is ETA. ETA. ETA means estimated time of arrival. Estimated time of arrival. This is typically used when you are talking to someone about your schedule. So someone might send you this with a question mark. ETA, meaning what's your estimated time of arrival, or when do you think you're going to arrive? ETA. And you might respond with just a time, or maybe you might say in 10 minutes, for example. Or you might write to someone and say ETA 1 hour. So ETA is a very common way to estimate the time at which something will happen or something will arrive. Okay, next. This is very, very, very common on the internet. It is TL semicolon DR. TLDR. This means too long, didn't read. Too long, didn't read. This one is used very commonly at the end of a very, very long post. So on something like a community forum or a message board, users might write a really long message. They might write something about their personal life or share an interesting story or something like that. And at the end, they may include this, TLDR. So this means for those of you for whom my story was too long and you didn't read it, here's a short summary. So you might find this, TLDR, at the end, the very, very end of a very long post on the internet. TLDR and a short summary, or 1 or 2 point summary. So TLDR means too long, didn't read. So this can be very, very helpful for your readers if you want to provide a short summary of something at the bottom of a long post. Okay, let's finish up with some very quick initialisms. BRB means be right back. BRB, be right back. We usually use this when we are typing to friends on like an instant messenger or perhaps on a work messenger, something like that. It means I need to go for a moment and I will come back very quickly. Be right back. BRB. The next two are a pair, BF and GF, boyfriend and girlfriend. We use these in place of the word boyfriend or girlfriend in our text messages and so on. So for example, having coffee with my BF right now, you could say having coffee with my boyfriend in the same way. Or I'm meeting my GF for dinner tonight. So I'm meeting my girlfriend for dinner tonight. These two are very, very commonly used, so BF and GF are very, 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 very commonly used in text. Okay, next is SO. SO. SO means significant other, significant other. So this is typically used among married couples, but it doesn't have a gender attached to it. So this could refer to someone's wife, to someone's husband, maybe to someone's partner if they are not married yet, but they still want to express that the other person is significant. Lots of people use SO, typically on online message boards, community forums, and so on. So for example, like my SO said to me, which means my significant other said to me. So people might use SO in place of maybe husband or wife or maybe boyfriend or girlfriend. It's just a personal preference. So SO means significant other. Okay. Next is BTW. BTW means by the way, by the way. So this is common in text messages in particular. You might see it in more casual emails in business settings, but if you want to be formal, I recommend not using this in your business emails. BTW means by the way. So for example, BTW, you might see this in a text, BTW, did you ever check that file that I sent you? So by the way, did you ever check that file I sent you? So this is a really good way to check in with someone. Finally, JK. JK means just kidding, just kidding. So it means I was just joking. That was just a joke, JK. So this is something you can use to follow up a text. Maybe you send a joke text to your friend and then you write, JK, just kidding. So use this one very carefully. Joke with your friends in text carefully. If it's not clear you're kidding, you might use JK to express that. So these are some very common initialisms. There are a lot more. There are a lot of initialisms, but I've chosen just a few here that are very commonly used. Again, an initialism is a word that is read as its letters. We read this as its letters. We don't read it as ASAP or DUI or something like that. We don't read it in this way. Again, you might hear some people saying that acronyms and initialisms overlap, they're the same. Some people are very strict about the differences between the two, but at least I hope this video helps you understand that there are some words that are pronounced as words and some that are pronounced with their letters. So I hope that you found something interesting in this video. Of course, if you know another acronym or another initialism, you can leave it in the comments for us to check out. If you like this lesson, please, please, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
Want to speed up your language learning? Take your very first lesson with us. You'll start speaking in minutes and master real conversations. Sign up for your free lifetime account. Just click the link in the description.